Right, hello everybody, and thanks for joining in again to another Zoom podcast interview. This time we've gone a little bit off-piste because we're going to chat with a guy called Billy Tucker, who isn't actually, doesn't actually play, but is a sound engineer. So how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah. Like I say, it's sort of gone a bit different now because it'd be nice to get the take of somebody that is involved in the music industry, but is not actually a player, if you like.
Yeah, yeah,
So, do you want to sort of, give people an idea as to how you got into this sort of engineering side of things?
for sure. Yeah. So, well, at the moment, I am a student at Falmouth Uni doing music technology. But like on the side, when I'm not doing uni work, I work with loads of artists, just like mixing and mastering their tracks. And I also work with podcasts and stuff, doing audio editing for them. And sometimes I do recording using the facilities at the uni. So I've worked with a few local artists with that. But I kind of got into it just because I so happened to see a poster at my secondary school for a music production course in Plymouth. And I was not planning on doing anything like that at all. I kind of just thought that I would finish my GCSEs and then do some A levels and then, I don't know, just kind of figure my way through life after that. But I just randomly saw this poster for DBS, which is like a music college in Plymouth,
Right.
and their music production course. And I was like, wow, that looks really interesting. I'd love to work with artists and like record them and help make music. So I went for it like that. And at first I started like making music at that point, but I kind of quickly realized that that wasn't really what I was interested in. I didn't really enjoy making my own music, but what I did really enjoy was working with the other musicians that were on the course and like help them with more of the technical side. So I picked up like recording pretty quickly. And so after the first year, I was like helping out the other people on the course recording their music, and I
Okay.
had loads of fun doing that. And then from there, I took a year out after doing 2 years there, and saved up money so that I could go to uni, which I'm doing right now, a second year Falmouth doing music technology. So again, kind of doing the same thing, producing people and recording and stuff like that.
Right. So you're obviously, this is where you want to base your future work plans is in sound engineering then.
Yeah, definitely. The plan at the moment is to finish university at Falmouth and then take a year out, probably like get a job, save up loads of money again, and then possibly move to Bristol where I will open up a studio. That is
Okay.
my game plan at the moment.
Okay. No, that's good plan to have. Good plan to
Mm,
have. When it comes to this sort of sound editing side, I mean, a lot of people, that are outside of music won't actually
mm.
know the ins and outs and the actual involvement of a sound engineer. Do you want to sort of take us through a typical process from the artist recording through to the whole thing of the it becoming out as a single or a CD? Take
Yeah,
us through the
okay.
process.
So I'll go about it as if we're talking about a band. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm mostly interested in. So a band will either like write an EP or write an album and then go, okay, we're going to book out a studio and go to the studio and record it. Or if they've got loads of money or like backing from a record label, they will think, right, we want to write an album or EP. Let's book out a studio and write the album and EP at the studio and record it at the same time. So it can go either way. They can write it first and then go to a studio, or they can write it in the studio. It usually just depends on how much money they've got.
Okay.
Um, so they'll do that. They'll find like a producer or a studio that they really like. They'll book out a slot which could be a couple of days or it could be one day, depending on how quickly they reckon they can record it. And then with their producer or sound engineer or both. So a producer is kind of more of a creative audio engineer in a way. So they work with the artist and they help write the music and they help kind of fuel the fire of these like creative ideas. A sound engineer, which is kind of more what I do, which is they just kind of look at the technical stuff. So they decide what
Right.
microphones they want to use to record stuff, what preamps, how they're going to record it. So the different like recording techniques. And then usually that same person will then, once everything's been recorded and it's like in a laptop or it's on a tape machine, they'll take all these separate instruments and they'll mix them together. So they'll set all the levels, they'll add effects so that everything sounds nice and clean. And then after that's done, it will usually get sent off to a mastering engineer, which kind of takes the whole mix and just kind of tweaks it a little bit, and it gets it the right volume and make sure it sounds good on like all kinds of systems so that the music sounds good anywhere you play it. And then it's finished and they'll send it back to the record label or the artist, and then they'll distribute it from there.
All right. Fantastic. So you personally, what's your favorite part of that process?
Oh, I think my favorite part is probably working with the artist in the studio recording stuff. So I've worked with a few local artists like the Doinks and Yasmin Anderson and Rizz, and all those people they've like written the songs, and we've booked out a time to use the recording studios at Falmouth Uni, and we spent 4 hours just like recording stuff. So I'll book out all the equipment beforehand, and they've got this like big, beautiful SSL analog desk, which we record stuff into. And yeah, it's just really fun interacting and like hanging out with the musicians and like recording music from there and like being there during the process of like music being created, if you know what I mean. So I think that's probably my favorite part.
So it's the sort of interaction with the people, as opposed to, I imagine, any mastering that's being done is quite a secular solo sort of focused thing, really.
Yeah, definitely. So the recording, is definitely much more interactive. When it goes on to the mixing stage, I'll usually it's kind of more of a back and forth interaction. So I'll have the songs, I'll mix the songs to like a really high standard, obviously, what I think it should sound like. I'll send the track to them, and then they'll give me any points that they might want changed slightly. So, and then the song goes back and forth while I'm mixing, and then mastering is just its own kind of thing that the artist doesn't really have much of a say in. So yeah, the mixing and mastering side is kind of a little bit more secluded, but there's still a little bit of an interaction going on, a back and forth between producer and artist.
Right. So what about live sound work? Do you do that?
I did a little bit of that at my time at college. That was one of the modules that we did was live sound. But it's not really the sort of thing that I'm hugely interested in, because I usually would, I feel like if I got into that, I'd be jealous every night that everyone else is like in the crowd, in the mosh pits, whereas I'm just like stuck at the desk. But it's an area that I could probably go into if I needed to. I have done a few kind of broadcast audio stuff as well with Surf Radio, which is the Falmouth Uni's like student radio station. I'm a part of the committee. I'm the audio guy basically, and I've done like a similar thing with like audio broadcast as well, which is also really fun. So that's another route I could go down as well.
Okay, so if there's any sort of bands or people that are doing podcasts that would like to get a hold of you, and what's the best way?
Well, my email is billytuckersound@gmail.com, or you can check out my website billytuckersound.com, or I've got a Facebook, which is Billy Tucker Sound Engineer. So you can message me through all those channels, really.
Okay, brilliant. Now, a daft question, it might be difficult to answer, but out of all the music you've listened to, since doing this sort of stuff, could you name an album that you think was something that you could go, "Ooh, I'd love to achieve that, aim at that sound"?
Yeah, I think whenever someone asks me this, I think of this pretty like underground band from Brighton called Austerity, and they call themselves an anarcho dance punk band. And they recorded their album Anarcho Punk Dance Party with this guy Mark Roberts, who's also based in Brighton. And yeah, the sound of that album is just absolutely incredible. So that's the kind of sound that I would love to be able to achieve one day. Super, like everything just sounds really like pumpy and like really fat. It's an incredible album, Anarcho Punk Dance Party by Austerity. If you're into like punk, then check it out.
I will do. I will check that out. Awesome. Okay, so like I say, because normally here I interview artists and bands and that sort of stuff. I have created a thing that's called Behind the Scene. So, almost like another playlist called Behind the Scene, where I will put this interview into that section. But hopefully I'll be able to tag some videos onto it. Is there a couple of videos that you feel, that maybe you've worked on that I could stick to it?
Yeah. So a couple recent things. I'll try and include some like some different genres.
Yeah.
But the most recent thing I've worked on is Snow by Rizds, which is their debut album. And Rizds is like a kind of a new post-punk band from here in Falmouth.
Okay.
And we recorded their stuff like a month or so ago, I think. And we're hopefully going to work on an EP or an album in the new year as well.
Okay, so that's on YouTube, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Snow
Can you
Rizds.
pronounce the name of the band or spell it out for us?
Rizts.
Okay, mate. I had written it down as that, but I didn't know if
Nice.
you pronounce them. Yeah. Okay, cool. Another one would be good.
I did work on Mog Jones's track. It Ain't Easy. That's
already up there, I think. I've tagged that in from because I interviewed last week, I think.
Oh yeah, wicked. Yeah, that's a great track. Another one is Feeling Higher by Voidness. He is a rapper and he's based in New Jersey in the US. I've been working with him for a couple of years now. Like he records his stuff from home and then he sends it to me and I mix and master it. And we've worked on.
Did you say Voidness? Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And we must have done like 50 songs together or something. He's just got this huge back catalogue of stuff we've worked on. He's only put out a little minority of it, but we're working on a project now that hopefully he'll be putting out at the beginning of next year, which is really exciting.
Sounds like a good thing. Yeah. Okay, now final questions. We'll come up to the end of the interview. I always ask every artist that I speak to, is there anybody you'd like to thank for you being here, musically doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, well, I guess the generic one is my parents, because they're always super supportive of everything I've done. They are kind of just like hearing them listening to music as a child is kind of what got me into music. So I remember discovering like rock music for the first time when I was like 12 or something. And I just went through my parents' CD collection and like the amount of it that was just stuck in my head. And I would hear a song and I was just like, oh, I know this song somehow. Like the melodies and the lyrics are just like already ingrained in my head from the amount of times that my parents used to listen to it. I think that's what really got me into music. So I got them to thank for that. And probably the band Nirvana is what really sparked my interest in rock music, which I kind of specialize in. So yeah, those two probably.
Fantastic, man. Brilliant. Yeah. Well, look, Billy, thanks a lot for giving me the time for the interview.
No worries. Thanks for chatting with me.
Yeah. Good luck with your future plans.
Cool. Thank you. You too.
All right. I'll speak to you soon.
Cool. Cheers.
Bye. Cheers, mate. Bye.